This is day 2 with Gideon, a rescued beta from Petco that they tortured in a hospital tank at my house, treating him for the extreme fin rot that he's experienced from being in a cup that wasn't properly maintained for so long. And now I want to talk a little bit about that, specifically about, oh, here he comes really close. Hi, buddy. Specifically about the nitrogen cycle and why employees of these big box pet stores might see these cups and think, oh, the water looks perfectly pristine and clear, which it doesn't always. Sometimes you can see the garbage in it. But even if the water looks clear, totally clear and pristine, that doesn't mean that the water parameters are good. It could still be hurting the fish. Ammonia is produced in the water as soon as a fish defecates, or even, some fish just breathing produces ammonia in the water. Ammonia burns fish. It literally burns fish alive. It starts to burn their skin, starts to burn their gills, starts to burn their fins. He's just like, I'm gonna hide while you're doing this video. There are snails in the tank, and he's like being kind of aggressive toward them because he's a Petco tank that's never seen snails before. Yeah, Gideon is a Petco fish who has not seen these plants or snails before. So I keep many, many planted tanks in my house. This one is a nano tank. It's just a 4-gallon tank. Male beta should not be in a 4-gallon long term, but it's fine as a hospital tank, especially with this many plants and places for them to go. But like I said, the nitrogen cycle. So as soon as there's ammonia in the water, then bacteria begins eating the waste and converting that to nitrites, which are also toxic for fish. Then beneficial bacteria come in and start eating those nitrites, which they then convert to nitrates. This is the nitrogen cycle. This is what happens in nature, in a natural body of water. And the nitrates are then edible by plants. Plants can eat nitrates, and that's why we keep planted aquariums, because they do some of the filtration for you. And then that's also why you keep a cycle tank. So this whole process takes about 3 to 4 weeks. And I did not know about it. I kept fish in the 90s and did not understand why they were jumping out of my tank all the time. The water looks clear. I was a child. No one in the 90s talked about keeping live plants in the tanks, or the nitrogen cycle, or ammonia and nitrites spiking and being able to weaken or hurt the fish. So a lot of times, if you see these fish at like Petco and PetSmart in the big box stores in these cups, please don't buy them. They're being tortured in these tiny cups. There's no way to keep cycled water in that cup. There's no way to even keep that water clean for a few days without the ammonia or nitrates or nitrites spiking with a live animal inside of it. It's just pretty much impossible. And that's why so many of the people who know anything about water and fish get so upset about it. I joined a fish club. Yes, Seattle has an amazing fish club about 7 months ago. And I've learned so much in such a small amount of time from some really amazing people. And I don't know if the people who work at the pet store don't understand the nitrogen cycle. I don't know. But you can't, the reason these labyrinth breathers like beta get sort of treated this badly is because they technically they can survive. I guess what I failed to mention was nitrites spiking depletes oxygen in the tank, and fish who breathe through their gills will just die. But these poor beta, they are labyrinth breathers. So they go to the top of the tank and they actually breathe oxygen from above the water surface, from the air. So they can technically survive in a tank where the oxygen, or a cup where the oxygen is being depleted, but as you can see, the rest of their bodies suffer horribly. Sometimes they're surviving, they're able to breathe, but their fins are literally being like melted away by ammonia, which just feels like a chemical burn, or their bodies are being weakened and they're getting this bacterial infection, this fin rot, which this fish has right now, which I'm treating it for. Anyway, that's a little bit about the nitrogen cycle.